Because we had a 1-year-old when we moved here, and then we had 4 more kids.
I'm sorry, what?
We have 5 kids.
You have 5 children.
Yeah, and so they're all, in school here, doing well. And yeah,
Did you and the wife just wake up one day and was like, hey, we're going to start an army today? Or welcome back to another episode of Networking with Nick. My name's Nick Dauncey, of course. Today, my guest is Troy Trussell, the owner of Trussell Media. At Trussell Media, they believe that everyone has a story worth being told. It's their mission to help share that story. Troy is massively motivated by his family. They're the reason he gets up and goes to work every day. It's a good thing he loves what he does. Being behind the camera just comes natural. No matter what story he tells or live event he captures, he just enjoys creating. My guest, Troy. Hello, Troy.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Nick.
Thanks for having me in your awesome studio. This is amazing.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So, being in the industry of media, how long have you been in it?
Man, over 20 years. Whoa. So graduated with a graphic design degree in 2001 from Louisiana Tech. Got right out into the workforce, worked for a marketing agency just right out of the gate in 2001. Did websites and graphic design for a couple of years, and then the boss said, hey, why don't you go on this production shoot and kind of be the director? And so I did that, got to tell cameramen what to do for a 30-second commercial. I think it was a car commercial or something, and just fell in love with it. And so, been behind the camera ever since.
What was that power like, being able to be on scene and just be like, I'm the director, do as I tell you?
It sounds awesome, but it was just such a small, little 30-second commercial for a local car dealer. So it wasn't amazing or anything, but it was fun to tell people, hey, this is my idea. Let's shoot it this way. And they were just like, yeah, that's cool. Let's do it. So
good Lord.
Yeah, it was fun.
20 years in. So you're a Wichita local then?
No, born and raised Shreveport, Louisiana.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. Graduated
How'd you get here?
from Louisiana Tech. So back in 2011, I think is when we moved here. My wife and I was looking for a change. Was kind of tired of the marketing agency life. And my wife and I started talking. I started putting out resumes to different cities. Wichita was the one city that I got really good feedback from my resume on. And so we took that as a sign from God. Let's go to Wichita. And so we've been here ever since.
I slightly understand how that feels, being a Seattle local myself. Born and raised in the Seattle greater area till I was 21, moved here in 2011, been here ever since. And what was your experience moving? Because as a city kid coming from, the West Coast, one of the, the bigger cities over there of Seattle, it's so massive. It's insane. And growing up in that environment, it's very busy, it's fast, it's in pace. Coming here, it took a moment for me to slow down. Was that the same experience for you, or was it very similar?
It's a lot similar. Right. The culture is completely different. In Northwest Louisiana and Shreveport, it's a lot like East Texas culture, but it's not as fast paced as you would say one of the coastal cities. So moving up here, I guess you did slow down a little bit, but it's still there are a lot of similarities between Shreveport and Wichita. Like a river runs through the middle of it. The East and the West have their battles. Like Shreveport, across the river, it's Bossier, and so Shreveport Bossier always had this feud. I feel like where West Wichita and East Wichita kind of have this underlying feud between each other,
Oh yeah.
But a lot of similarities. Like there's Riverfest here. There's the Red River Revel down there,
right,
which is a big art, thing where they have concerts and stuff every year. But yeah, a lot of similarities. So.
Do you make it back home often or no?
Every once in a while we'll go back. My parents actually moved up here 5 years ago, and my wife's dad lives here now, and
the whole family migrated.
Yeah,
it sounds like
they migrated, and my sister actually moved up here 4 years before we did, so that's why Wichita was even on the radar.
Interesting, because you already had a sibling here,
right?
And what was she doing?
So her husband got transferred with his job up here from Shreveport to Wichita. He used to work at a manufacturing air conditioner company up here. Okay. So, and so that was the biggest reason we even had Wichita on the map.
That's so crazy. Everyone I talk to, even from back home, like, oh, you live in Kansas. Like, there's always like, oh, I know someone who lives in Kansas. Like, there's always like, at least every time I've talked to somebody, like, oh, where are you from? Like, if I'm back home meeting new people, oh, I'm in Kansas. Oh, I have like a sibling or whoever who also lives there. They might go to WSU, but it's quite often that I get that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Is there anywhere you would move? Would you move again?
Probably not.
The roots are here?
I think the roots are here because we had a 1-year-old when we moved here, and then we had 4 more kids.
I'm sorry, what?
We have 5 kids.
You have 5 children?
Yeah, and so they're all, in school here, doing well, and yeah.
Did you and the wife just wake up one day and was like, hey, we're going to start an army today? Or
So, funny quick story. We were at when we weren't even married yet. We were engaged. And we went to my aunt and uncle's 50th wedding anniversary. And so we were sitting kind of in the back, and up front, they were sitting at a table up front, and all these kids were just running around playing in front of the table kind of as we were eating dinner and everything. And I was looking at that, and every one of those kids were from my cousins. Like, so it was all their grandchildren running around just going crazy. And I thought, my wife and I were like, well, how cool would it be to have our 50th wedding anniversary and to sit there and see all these kids that have come from just your one marriage.
The multiplication, like how it.
Yeah, how amazing would that be? And so that day we decided to have 4 kids, and then we had 5.
So all right, I as a father, I have one. He's a 9-year-old. I have thought about the idea of more kids, only and it's not because I want kids. I think it's because I want to make sure that I'm replaced when I leave. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's kind of weird because like me and my son's mother, we had 1 kid. When we both pass, like it's not enough. Is it right? Like the math isn't mathing.
Yeah. I mean, got to keep that lineage going, right?
Yeah. Especially with having 5 of them. I mean, do any of them have the knack that dad does? Are any of them going to fall in the footsteps of video production?
I don't know. We'll see. They're really into video games right now, and they love YouTube. So it's a possibility. Of course, they want to be YouTubers because that's the trend. That's the thing right now, I guess.
As long as you're consistent and you work your butt off, I mean, you can give her a shot. You're not guaranteed, though.
Yeah.
I tell my son that all the time. He's like, oh, I want to make YouTube videos. I want to make YouTube videos. Look, you're more than welcome to, but you need to learn that there's other parts to it. Yeah. You got to learn how to capture, learn how to edit, learn how to post, learn how to create. And it's not as easy as they see when they hit the play button and watch the video, because it does seem easy. Oh,
yeah, well,
do that.
I mean, even if you get a viral video, like if you only do one, then that's your like one-hit wonder, right? So you got to put in the work and just create consistent content that's quality and that people want to watch. I mean, that's the golden ticket.
What's your thought process on that? Like, do you have a specific thought process when it comes to what makes a good video?
It really just depends on kind of your industry, because I work with a lot of businesses and we do social media content, but a lot of the ones that are successful really kind of have a niche. So they say the riches are in the niches, right?
Absolutely.
So if you can niche down to a certain audience and share, creative content around that niche and keep it new and fresh, then you got something.
Absolutely. I like that. What are some of the crazy trends you've seen over the 20 years of experience you have?
Oh, man. Well, I mean, I don't know about trends, but just seeing how technology has advanced in 20 years has been insane. Like we're recording, you're recording this on an iPhone.
I do.
For the video. You couldn't do that 20 years ago. I mean, the cameras in here, they would be probably as big as this table. They were big, and they recorded on tape. And so just seeing the transformation from, the big bulky cameras to what we used to use with big, beta tapes. I don't know if for my 80s people.
Oh, yeah.
Like beta tapes, and we'd have to deliver them to the editor to where they could cut the actual tape and put something together.
See, that's what I'm curious about. So it's funny that you bring that up, because I have an engineering background in aviation, making airplane parts.
Yeah.
And the old school CNC machines were almost the same way, where it was a tape fed machine, and you had like you could make edits, but it was very like you had to be very skilled to do so. So like the editing process back then, like what was that like when cutting the tape and stuff like that? That must have been a mess.
So we would. I didn't actually do it.
Okay.
We had a guy that we would deliver the tapes to, and they would cut it, and then they would deliver it back to us, and then we'd take it to the station once it was finally approved. But yeah.
So that the commercial you went out on, how much equipment was brought with, and how many people? And then like if you were to do the same one today, what is the equivalent?
So back then we had 2 videographers, 2 people on camera, and then there was me as the director, and then we had somebody running sound for the person speaking on camera.
So a total of 4.
Total of 4. Now you could do it with one person.
Just walk in a cart full of stuff that you have, set it up.
Yeah,
Man.
set it up and do different scenes. And I do that a lot, just one-man band. So
When you're doing live events?
sometimes, it really depends on the event.
Really? That's fair.
Sometimes you have to have a second camera that's manned. So,
Do you have a favorite video project you've been on? One that's kind of stuck with you over the years? Like, that was a lot of fun.
oh man, I get asked this a lot.
Okay, that's fair.
I really don't have a good answer.
Let's go the opposite way then.
Okay.
What is the worst one you've ever been a part of? And if there's anything you can say about it.
Oh man,
There's always those nightmares.
There was this one video we did in-house for the marketing agency, and it was completely my fault. It was a lack of like paying attention to detail, but I was doing so many things. It was hard to miss. But we had a lady, we were doing this old commercial about cereal. I can't remember. I think it was called Meatos. Was the cereal?
Meatos?
Yeah, so it was kind of like a spoof, and we were doing this raw meat and pouring milk over it, and this kid was eating it. And so this mom was playing like the 50s mom, like giving her kid the cereal and saying Meatos. Well, when she leaned over to give the kid the cereal bowl, she had a microphone pack on her back, and so you could see it, and we didn't want that in the shot. And so we had already wrapped the shoot and everything, gotten back into the editing room, and my boss is like, we got to do something about this. We can't reshoot because it costs too much money to do all that.
Right.
So we have to figure out a way to remove this, microphone pack on her waist.
Oh.
And we finally did it, but we had to go frame by frame.
Very, very technical, very difficult.
Yes. And
tedious.
And fix every frame in Photoshop and erase the microphone pack to where it looked like she had on like it wasn't there.
Man.
And that was before, After Effects had all these tricks. Now you could probably just do it with one click. But back then you had to go frame by frame and remove it. And that was the worst editing, production experience that I've ever. And it was all my fault.
I bet you never did it again, did you?
Never. I'll pay very strict attention to detail.
That's really amazing because like in those failure moments, that is when we are taught the most. I am a big believer in your failures will teach you the most as long as you apply them.
Yeah, for sure.
What are some of the failures that have like you've got under your belt that have taught you the most to continue your path?
Some little things. I mean, in my industry, you got to make sure stuff's recording, right?
Oh, you got to hit the button.
And like even sitting here, I've looked at the button like 5 times to see if the Rodecaster's recording. But there are some tricks though. If you don't remember to hit record, like say you're doing an interview and you hit record on the camera, but you forget to hit record on the microphone. Well, if you're trained enough to continue to look to see if things are recording, and also technology will just stop on you sometimes, so I mean it's always good to look and make sure your cameras are still recording.
Absolutely.
in the digital age. But yeah, a simple thing you can say is, hey, let's go back and let's do those first 2 questions again, because I think you're feeling the groove. You're not comfortable. You're comfortable in front of the camera now, so let's go ahead and redo those first 2 questions.
I like that,
and we'll probably get a better response. And usually they have no idea.
No clue that you were like, oh, oops.
No clue that I totally botched their first 2 questions and didn't even record them.
That's a good way to save yourself, though. Hey,
Yeah.
I think you're in the groove right now. I think we should redo those first 2 questions. You're really in the flow. It's almost gaslighting, but it's good.
It works, man. It works.
That's really awesome. All right, so Troy, our paths cross networking.
Yeah.
How long have you been in business, and how long have you been networking?
So I've been in business for 8 years, and the first, 6 years, 5.5, 6 years, I was strictly a wedding videographer.
Oh.
Because at the marketing agency, the boss's husband and I would use the cameras on the weekends to go make extra money, and we'd shoot weddings. So I've been shooting weddings for 21 years. I don't do it anymore, though. So six years into that, I decided that I've got to get out of the wedding industry. Finally in my 40s, it's like I'm done.
Don't want to play with the bridezillas no more?
I just don't want to play with weddings anymore, period. Like, I love weddings, I love marriage, it's great, but I don't want to film them anymore. So I decided to get out of that, and I joined a networking group that meets once a week, and that because I wanted to get back in the corporate business world of work, doing commercials and client testimonials and all those types of things.
Right.
And so knowing that I wanted to go down that path, I knew that I needed to meet more people, and the best way to do that is to network. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you remember your first networking meeting and how you felt before you went into it?
Yeah, I'm always nervous about them,
Right.
and I'm fairly introverted, or especially was back then more than I am now. But always a little nervous, it's hard for me to walk up to a couple people and introduce myself. It's more, I'd rather people come talk to me, but that's just not how it works.
It's just not. No, you're not. I mean, if you sit on the sidelines long enough, no one's going to stop by and drop off a Ferrari for you. It doesn't work that way.
Exactly. Yeah. So like even yesterday, I went to a networking group that I'd never been to in the afternoon, and it was hard for me to break through into a couple of groups of people talking. I did it a few times.
Right.
But then once I get uncomfortable, I just leave. And then I'll go back and try it again. And
that's there. What you just said is the most important part, I think.
Right.
Is that try again.
Yeah. Going back. And I think if you are introverted and you want to try these out, the best advice I can give you is go early. Yes. So if you go early, then you're there before a lot of people get there.
Yep.
And then people will come up to you and talk to you. So
I have the same theory, but a little bit different for the result. So show up early. Everyone should be early anyway. But if you show up that a little bit extra early, usually the people who are there setting up the meetings are the leadership team.
Right.
I will run into the president of the whatever meeting group and have the ability to get with them for 5-10 minutes, talk to them, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, you need to talk to this person, this person, this person. So being able to get in early gives you the ability to talk to leadership. Leadership already knows everyone.
Yeah.
Knows who you're going to need to talk to and want to talk to.
Yeah, that's good advice. Yeah. Because I think that's how we met, right? You came early and I was there setting up. And
Absolutely. That's I follow my own advice.
There
My 3 biggest tips when it comes to networking are show up early, so you can meet the leadership. It's not middle school. You can go up and talk to people.
Right.
You don't have to stand up. It's not a middle school dance. And then brush your damn teeth and smile.
Yes.
Brush your teeth.
Brush your teeth, eat a mint. Yeah.
Yeah, because, you are in close quarters with people. And, it's all right if you had that egg cheese McMuffin this morning on the way to wherever you're going. That's cool. But make sure you take, because if you're going to be introducing yourself, brush your damn teeth.
Yes.
God.
Good advice.
What one or 2 tips that you would give a newcomer?
A newcomer to like a networking
just a
group?
networking group who they're about to come out that they've never done it before, besides the showing up early.
Dress for success.
That's a good one.
Yeah, you don't want to come in wearing rags. Come in like you are excited about meeting people and that you are good at what you do. That would be one tip. And then the other one is, if you are definitely for the introverts, just make it a point to say, okay, I'm going to go talk to at least 3 people.
Yes.
Set a goal and do it, and just go talk to 3 people.
That's so good.
And that'll get you in the groove if you want to keep coming back or go into different ones. That'll get you in the groove. Say, okay, I'm not leaving until I talk to 3 people. And then, always meet your goal while you're there. And then you'll be surprised what you'll come away with.
That, like, you don't know, it's so crazy what doors can open for you too. Like, you have no idea who people are, what they do, and how quick you can relate to somebody. And especially if they're, a little bit further ahead in the process, they're like, oh, I like this guy here. I'm gonna introduce you to this person, bring you here. All because you were kind or nice and introduced yourself and treated somebody like a person and created a relationship. It opened so many doors for you. It's insane.
Yeah, that's good.
So what is the future for Troy?
Future for Troy? Well, just continuing to grow our video production company, Trussell Media, and the podcast room here. We have different marketing for the podcast room. It's wichitapodcastroom.com.
Heck yeah.
We just want to get as many people in the podcast room here to share their story or share about their industry or whatever they're into in podcast form.
Love it.
Yeah. So we're trying to grow this part of our business, and we want to help people get their word out because everybody's got something to say. They just got to sit down and press record.
Sometimes you need to ask them a couple questions to get them to say the things that they want to say. Sometimes it's difficult to get them going, but no, that's absolutely amazing. I think in the world today of so much information, like just being able to share is so easy. There's no reason you can't. And there's going to be somebody who wants to listen.
Yeah, for sure.
May only be a couple people, but that's okay. That is okay. As we kind of come here to an end, as I wrap up our episode here, I love this question. I've been kind of asking everyone. It's been my last question. Troy, you get up one morning, you get ready for work, and you go to leave the house. You go to open the door, but you see 18-year-old Troy standing there staring at you. You guys lock eyes. You can't tell him all the secrets, but you can give him one piece of advice. What do you tell that young man?
Grow up.
Damn.
Yeah, I would tell my 18-year-old self to quit messing around and grow up.
Dude, that's so powerful.
I feel like, so I'm 45 years old. I have an 8-year-old business. If I'd have told myself to grow up when I was 18, there's no telling where I'd be right now.
I can understand that.
I believe I'd be a lot further along than where I want to be. Now, saying all that doesn't hold me back now. But I feel like an urgency in my business and what I want to do. If I'd have started back when I was 18, man, I'd be killing it.
Man.
So, yeah, grow up.
Grow up's a good one. I love that. I absolutely love that. Thank you so much, Troy. This has been amazing.
Yeah, Nick, thanks for coming in, checking out the studio, and thanks for having me on your show, man.
Absolutely. I love the podcast. Thank you again so much for watching this episode of Networking with Nick. This has been such a great time. Get out there and meet people. Shake hands, meet people, say hello. Other than that, get out of here, you crazy hooligans.